Thank you, Madam. Honorable Minister for Power from Karnataka, Shri D.K. Shivkumarji. Honorable Minister of Energy from the Government of Sri Lanka, thank you very much for coming to India and attending this very, very important program for all of us. Mr. Aditya Dhoot, Chairman of the Organizing Committee for ELECRAMA 2016, Mr. Babu Babel, President of IEEMA, Sanjeev Sardana ji, Ms. Indra Menon ji, both Vice Presidents, Sunil Mishra, Director General of the IEEMA, our very senior colleague, former Secretary Shri Uma Shankar ji, who gave leadership to the Ministry of Power some time ago. I still keep getting a lot of files with your file notings on that, Uma Shankar ji. Mr. Pandey, Mr. B.N. Sharma, Additional Secretaries, Government of India, Ms. Jyoti Arora, Mr. A.K. Verma, Joint Secretaries, Major Singh ji, Chairman, Central Electricity Authority. I see several secretaries of power and principal secretaries of power from different state governments. It would be incomplete if I wouldn't mention my good friend Saif Qureshi, who is persuasive enough to get anybody from anywhere to fly into Bangalore. And all the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, delegates to this inaugural session, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to meet with all of you and share a few words. I was just calling for the literature of this conference, and I must compliment you. These are really very smartly made journals and data points for the conference. I just came to know from Aditya the budget of this exhibition. And listening to that, I'm a little worried. I think we are paying you too much for all the products that we purchase from you. But truly, I must place on record my deep appreciation that the entire industry has come together to support Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's vision of giving electricity to all in this country, 24/7, affordable power, quality power, and that dream cannot be completed without the support of all of you. Thank you very much for your support. I'm truly amazed at the size and scale and spirit of this conference. I must say, I've attended a lot of conferences held by organizations all across this country, but the level of enthusiasm that I have seen amongst your leaders, amongst the members in this hall today, amongst the senior team at IEEMA is truly amazing. Very rarely do I see that kind of enthusiasm, that kind of ownership of a program that I have witnessed at ELECRAMA 2016. And I must compliment each and every one of you in the organizing committee, in the management committee, and all the participants of the over 1,000 exhibitors who have come from all over the world. Aapne kaha ke you have even exceeded the number of participants who participate in the Olympics. And truly for us in the power sector, this is the Olympics of India. Well, we are just having a little bit of a clash with the Make in India initiative in Mumbai. We have the Make in India week there, but ELECRAMA has decided to compete with that and have the ELECRAMA conference around the same time, which is great. We like that. No, competition and complementing both go together. And we like that. Prime Minister Modi has more than once alluded to Team India. And Team India certainly cannot be encapsulated in one conference or one program. Team India is every one of us who's participating in this endeavor to make India truly a global power. In fact, I was recalling a statement that the father of the nation, Shri Mahatma Gandhi ji, had made. And I quote, "My nationalism is as broad as my Swadeshi. I want India to rise so that the whole world may benefit." And I think you in IEMA and ELECRAMA 2016 truly embodies that spirit of nationalism, that spirit which combines Swadeshi with Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, where we in India will make in India, will make to truly global standards, will make the best of class, cutting-edge technology products, which will benefit the entire world. And I think ELECRAMA 2016 should become the front runner of your industry's engagement with the rest of the world. Possibly the next time around you have ELECRAMA, you should also map the growth and progress that this industry makes in serving the rest of the world, in making in India to supply to the rest of the world. And some of you who have engaged with me are aware that I always like to come up with outcomes. So if one was to make an outcome-oriented conference, ELECRAMA 2016, then I would urge you to think of 2 or 3 outcomes. One outcome could be that every product that our industry makes in India should, over the next 24 months, aspire to become the best in the world. And if all of us in this room decide, if all the 1,000 exhibitors who are participating in this conference decide that India is going to become the fountainhead of electrical equipment across the world, to my mind, Indian skills and Indian ingenuity, and by ingenuity, please don't mix it up with the jugaad technology, but by ingenuity, I'm talking of bringing best of class innovation, research, development into our working. If we decide that in the next 24 months, India will produce the best of every single element of the electrical industry, and I believe you have a lot of elements. The electrical industry would be one industry which has the maximum number of components and different aspects of this, of the whole value chain. So if we were to look at that as one of the outcomes, and then start planning, each one in our businesses. So whatever product Babu does, whatever product Aditya, you do, all the products that different members and participants here do, we'll all have to start reorienting our mind to think differently, to think innovatively, and to look at the world as our competition. We'll have to identify who's the best in the world, let's say in conductors. We'll have to see who makes the best insulators in the world. Of course, my passion for transformers and smart meters is well known to all of you. And once we benchmark ourselves to the best, we'll be able to start planning our own processes to reach, if not exceed, the best. And I think that could become one way to really assess that we are spending so much effort. I'm sure each one of you must have had enough sleepless nights, sacrificed your business to be a part of this whole program, to create such a wonderful platform for the industry. And the satisfaction that comes out of that level of engagement will only be known when 24 months later, we can see a quantitative and a qualitative difference, both in the participation of this program and in the output that India is able to give to the world. Another possible outcome could be our exports. The world is challenged today. The world is in a situation where growth is not happening. And gradually the world is getting outpriced. So in my own energy dialogues, whether in the United States or Japan or recently till yesterday in Australia, what I observed is they have great technologies. They have beautiful ideas, but they don't have the capacity to execute it efficiently and effectively. They do not have the wherewithal to be competitive. And then, therefore, they were gradually moving their bases to China. I think the time has come to show the world that India has arrived, to show the world that this is the place to do business. And if one was to look at the recent rankings, be it the ease of doing business ranking, be it the perception ranking on corruption, transparency index ranking, be it the competitiveness ranking, each one of them, India is making rapid strides to become a much more investor-friendly and business-friendly country. And in that, and I can assure you, this process has only just begun. We're going to see a lot more action in the days to come. And going forward, I have absolutely no doubt that the 12 rank jump that we had in the ease of doing business ranking will only accelerate going forward. The improvement from the 75th to the 55th rank that we had in the Global Competitiveness Index is only going to be further bettered in the months and years to come. In fact, getting an electricity connection played an important role in the improvement in the ease of business doing index. We jumped some 29 points when it came to the ease of getting an electricity connection. And I've urged all the state governments and the state secretaries from the power sector to draw up a framework, and I hope my colleagues will remember that that is a work in progress, that we want to ensure that just like you get water on a tap, electricity should be available on tap literally anywhere and everywhere in the country. And as a first step, we have decided that throughout the country, anybody who applies for an electricity connection, and that application should be available online also, apart from the offline process, should be guaranteed an electricity connection, if the grid is available there, within 15 days. And ideally, of course, when I first started, I had said we should do it in 24 hours. But I was advised that there are certain requirements and whatever else is there. Let's begin with 15 days. But I do hope that by 2019, the country can move to a situation that 24 hours and you can have an electricity connection. Of course, a more ideal situation would be that you have a bouquet of 3 or 4 or 2 options to choose from, and therefore bringing in competition in the sector and bringing in better service standards. But that will be something which will require the support of all of you, support of state governments. But I have no doubt in my mind that as we are all working together in different ways, we can achieve it. We can achieve this kind of improvement. And I personally am extremely delighted that India has gone up by 18 points, 18 places in the transparency index, which reflects the fact that corruption is getting out of the Indian system. In fact, आप में से कई लोगों ने सुना होगा, इस सरकार की बहुत क्रिटिसिज्म प्रतिक्रिया होती है कई जगह पे कि आपके काम का ग्राउंड पे कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है, हमें ग्राउंड पे नजर नहीं आ रहा है. तो जब हम पूछते हैं पे ग्राउंड पे नजर आने के लिए हमने क्या करना चाहिए, तो बोलते हैं ब्लैक मनी पे इतना क्रैकडाउन मत करो. But I can reassure all of you that the crackdown on black money is real. This government will relentlessly pursue a corruption-free regime, and the short-term pain, if any, if at all they are right, and if at all that is the cause for this little bit of a short-term disconnect, I think it's a price India has to pay someday. Let it be today rather than tomorrow. But let us all strive and work together to make India a regime, make India a system where the world wants to come and invest and has the confidence that their investment is safe, their investment is secure, they will not be required to grease palms, they will not be required to have extra considerations. They can work in a free and fair atmosphere, equal opportunity for all. And it is with that intention that we have initiated the transparent bidding process when we procure products, whether it is in the procurement of LEDs, the procurement of transformers, cables, meters, all of which are going to be processed in the days to come. The vision of the government is to make this a completely equal opportunity, corruption-free, clean administration, which also helps to improve standards of quality, which also helps all of you to scale up your business to the levels that we are planning in terms of rollout of our different programs. I was just seeing the LED bulbs project, which was 6 lakh bulbs a year, barely 2 years ago. In the year 2013-14, EESL Limited, which is a Government of India company, had only sold 6 lakh bulbs. And there were 7-watt bulbs being procured at 310 rupees per bulb. Today we have reached a situation where since April to February 9th, today's 13th, so till February 12th, from April to February 12th, the same EESL, which did 6 lakh bulbs in a year, is doing 6 lakh bulbs per day. Per day. And while I was in Australia, in fact, the official dialogue was happening on the 10th of this month. And when we started the dialogue, I was explaining to the Honorable Minister Josh Frydenberg of Australia about the various initiatives in India, particularly our focus in energy efficiency. So I just took out my phone and opened the dashboard. And I do hope you are also monitoring our work through the dashboard, which is in public domain. And I saw that we had just crossed 6 crore. Maybe it was 6 crore and 36,000. So we must have crossed 6 crore probably on the 9th of February. My target, of course, is 10 crore for 31st March. So they have their work cut out for the next 47 days. And maybe, while I'm still hopeful that, and the problem is supply constraint. I was just talking to Shiv Kumar ji that your state needs to speed up the LED rollout. And he said the problem is we are not getting enough supplies. And I'm suspecting the same problem will come up when we go for transformers and smart meters. So please start ramping up your capacities because the procurement is going to be very rapid. And we are looking at really high quality products coming out of your industry, of your business. But what I'm only trying to explain to you is that this vision that we are trying to achieve, and we are trying to fast track even the Prime Minister's vision. 2022, we want to make it happen by 2019, that we can give power for all by 2019, 24/7, uninterrupted and affordable. And towards that end, of course, we've just come out with UDIT, the Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana. It's probably the most comprehensive set of reforms that the power sector has ever embarked on. A new tariff policy was announced a few days ago. Again, that has tried to address all the uncertainties and regulatory issues that have emerged over the last several years so that investors and industry can be assured of a more stable, predictable regulatory framework. And this process of reforming the sector, of bringing about improvements in the working of distribution companies, generating companies, transmission contracts being bid out in a big way, this process is only going to get accelerated from now onwards. So I have no doubt that the level of investments that we are talking of is happening, is going to happen. In transmission alone, we've had several contracts in the last few months, and I think in the next 47 days up to 31st March, several more bids are going to be coming out. In the procurement of transformers, smart meters, I think those Committee A, Committee B are coming to the fag end of their deliberations, and we should soon be seeing procurement happening. Incidentally, I got an SMS, Mr. Sharma. I'm sorry, but I have this, so that I don't forget, I like to sort out my issues simultaneously. Somebody wrote me an SMS that companies, or many companies, could not participate in the selection or process of eligibility for supply of transformers. And it got my mind thinking, why should we have a window? It should be open 365 days a year. Suppose somebody starts a new transformer manufacturing capacity in April, inspired by ELECRAMA 2016. Why should he have to wait for the next time you open up the ability to bid? Or somebody lost out in the first round, is improving his facilities and wants to offer himself again. So you may consider that we should not have windows of opportunity to participate in our tenders. उस विंडोज से डर भी लगता है अगर आप पहले जाएं तो these windows of first come first served, you have to bid, you have to put in your offers within so much time or your company profiles, and then if you get a license you have to run down the corridors and pay some fees, and whoever pays first gets the license. Those days are all gone. Now it's competitive bidding which comes out with a fair and equal opportunity for all. So you may like to consider changing that in your systems. What one can do is those who have been approved up to a certain date can bid in the next tender. Then whenever the next tender comes, more people can be made eligible. There's no problem. But on more occasions than one, I have requested and appealed to all of you that quality is going to be the defining feature of this government's programs. And if any of you is still harboring hopes and designs to use second-grade CRGO sheets, to use recycled copper, or to use any of these products which damage the life, quality or accuracy of electrical equipment, I can assure you that there will be nobody worse than me for you to deal with. Well, I have said it on more occasions than one. Today I am taking the opportunity of saying it in ELECRAMA with all the cameras also recording it, so that the message goes to the entire industry that this government will not at all tolerate any compromise on quality. And I have gone to the extent of saying, and the power secretaries of the states may also kindly note that, because we fund a lot of these schemes that are happening in the states. All of India is one. We want the best of quality in the states also. And if anybody is found wanting, after due process, if it is after investigation, it is found that somebody continues to indulge in malpractices, I promise you, I will make sure not only is he blacklisted in the government of India and all its associated public sector undertakings and procurement, I will ensure every state also blacklist them. I will appeal to my friends in the private sector to make sure such a company is blacklisted and run that business to the ground. Please don't take it as a threat. It's only an appeal. The Honorable Prime Minister is launching Make in India Week today. It's a very important day. 2 international events happening on the same day, also on the eve of Valentine's Day. It's also the 100th birth anniversary of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay. He was the ideologue who introduced the concept of integral humanism nearly 50 years ago. Antyodaya, I don't know if many of you have heard that word. Antyodaya basically is serving the person at the bottom of the pyramid first. You are basically addressing the issue of the Daridra Narayan, the person who's in the worst state at the bottom of the pyramid. And Pandit Deendayal Upadhyaya had expounded that it is the duty of every government, it is the duty of every public servant to first serve the cause of the person at the bottom of the pyramid. Probably Pandit Deendayal Upadhyaya was a little ahead of his time. He spoke about happiness being derived from a person's 360-degree happiness. It can't come only from material wealth. It comes from a variety of things. He wants good education for him and his children. He wants good health care for his family, his aged parents, leisure, entertainment, a good home. And amongst all of these, if there is one enabler, that enabler is electricity. And it is a matter of shame for us as a nation that 68 years after independence, 68 years after independence, we have millions and millions of people. Some estimates say 5 crore families, which could be 25, 30 crore people, who have been deprived of electricity in 2015. In fact, on 1st April 2015, there were 18,452 villages which still didn't have electricity. Of course, in the earlier days, a village was considered electrified even if 10 or 15 or 20% of the homes had electricity. So out of the rest of the 600,000 villages, I don't know how many villages would be there who have 100% homes with electricity. And it's a matter of shame for all of us in this country. When Prime Minister announced on 15th August 2015 that within the next 1,000 days, every one of these 18,500 villages should be connected to electricity, I'm immensely pleased to inform you that our officials said, sir, we will do it in 730 days, not 1,000 days. And it's not something we said on file. It's something we've said publicly. The mobile app that the Honorable Prime Minister also wrote about, that Babu was referring to, GARV, G-A-R-V. Any of you can download GARV on your mobile. It's about village electrification and our commitment to do it in 730 days. And we have planned the entire program to complete it in 730 days, so that every village in the country, and mind you, these are those remote villages, maybe on the mountain tops or in dense forests, which could not be reached in 68 years. After all, we've seen rural electrification happen for many years. These are the most difficult villages which we have not been able to reach so far. And in such a compressed time frame, the challenge that all these officials have taken up upon themselves is truly remarkable. And I'm mentioning this to all of you, particularly my friends from the private sector, because I want you to be proud of the work that all of them are doing. I want you to acknowledge that this misinformation that has been spread over years and years, that governments, government servants, public servants are inept, they are corrupt, they can't do anything, they miss targets. It was never their fault in the first place. It was more systemic. It was more political misadventure. It was misplaced priorities. It was lack of vision, lack of leadership. That is what Prime Minister Modi is trying to address. I do believe, and I believed this much before I became a minister, it's not the ownership of an organization that defines or determines its success in the future. It is the vision that that organization has, and it is the leadership that you and I provide to that organization. And in that sense, Prime Minister Modi is determined to fulfill that vision of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, that every citizen of this country has a right to happiness, has a right to good governance, has a right to a good quality of life. Not a right that is encapsulated in a law or only a legal framework, but a right that has to be actionated by all of us, a right that is enjoined as our duty, as our responsibility. And that responsibility cannot be fulfilled, ladies and gentlemen, unless Team India, and Team India is all of us in this room. It's not the central government alone or the state government alone. It's the 125 crore Indians. After all, even for an electricity connection, somebody will have to apply for it. So the entire process can only be completed when all of us work together to make it happen. And in that sense, I'm grateful to you, Mr. Shivkumar, for your acknowledgement. But Prime Minister Modi, on day one, gave this clear direction. It is immaterial which government rules in which state. Political ideologies will not decide economic progress of this country. This is a government that represents 125 crore Indians. He is the Prime Minister of India. So, sir, when it is Karnataka, it is as much a part of my responsibility and my Prime Minister's commitment to make sure that we fulfill the dreams and aspirations of the people of Karnataka. In fact, I've never mentioned it publicly, but I'll just share with you what had happened about 6 months ago. My colleagues who were there in the room that day would probably recall. Sharma ji, aap the shayad us din. Many of us here would be aware that Karnataka was faced with a lot of problems of power this year because of shortage of hydropower. And the monsoons were deficient and hydropower production was less. Unfortunately, over many years, India has never built an adequate transmission infrastructure to be able to take power wherever there is a problem like this. In fact, for the record, in barely 18 months, last 18 months, we have been able to increase the transmission capacity to South India, which has perennially faced shortages of power, by 71%. 18 months, 71%. Going forward in the next 18 to 24 months, we will expand that by another 80%. So effectively, 3.5 years of Modi ji's government, we would have seen a threefold expansion in the transmission capacity to South India. Of course, by 1920, we will take it up 5x. It will become 18,000 megawatt. 5 times growth in a span of 6 years. That's the plan that we have made out. To ensure that never again, even if there is deficient rainfall, even if there is a problem in any supplier of power, will South India ever have to suffer again? And I believe today the situation is that most parts of South India are able to get Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra, Telangana. Everybody has 24/7 power. For most people, some states maybe 22 hours. On the back of this increased coal supply, increased transmission ability. But when Karnataka had this peculiar problem of hydro generation being down, I would receive requests from Honorable Chief Minister, from Honorable Power Minister. Members of Parliament would stomp into my office and demand more power. But I was helpless. I had thousands and thousands of megawatt of surplus power, but could not transmit it to Karnataka for lack of transmission ability. So I thought, okay, let's try and reallocate some of the power in the southern states. It's not my job. to be making phone calls to each state and requesting them to leave power for another state. I mean, I don't know if it has happened in the past or whether power minister's duty includes calling up chief ministers. Can you release some power for your neighbor who's in distress? But I actually sat in my office. I called up the chief minister of Kerala. I called up the chief minister of Andhra, called up the chief minister of Telangana, and the power minister of Tamil Nadu. I could not reach the chief minister. She was probably traveling. And I made an earnest appeal to all four, if they could allow us to reallocate some of the power that they have got out of unallocated power so that we could give some additional power to Karnataka. And I was only asking, 100 megawatt kam se kam chhod do. A little bit if you release, I'll be able to give. It's of course unfortunate that nobody agreed. I was politely turned down for different reasons by all the states. And it distressed me a lot. And one could jolly well say that Karnataka is a Congress government, I am a BJP person. Why should I have been distressed about it? But my duty is to serve 125 crore Indians. And then finally, if I remember correctly, despite nobody cooperating, we took a decision on file, pulled out some of the power from all the 4 states and moved it to Karnataka. I do hope in the years to come, as we are able to expand more and more the transmission grid, and as Coal India continues to expand production, which is rapidly growing, I'm sure you're looking at the figures today, between 14-15, the first year, we added about 6.9% growth in coal production. That's again something which the same people, the same government officials and employees and workers did. After all, I did not go and mine that coal. But a company which would usually do 1 or 2% growth, if it did 4%, it was celebration. Possibly you could uncork a champagne bottle at 4% growth in Coal India. Last year they did 6.9. This year they were almost up to 9.8% growth. We've had to scale it down a little in the last 1 month because of extra stocks. A country where, when I became minister, nearly 2/3 of the coal-based power plants were having shortage of coal or were considered critical coal supplies, less than 7 days. And I don't know, many of them were at 0 and 1 day. So they were like the Japanese just-in-time inventory. Every day the coal would come, the power plant would run. If it didn't come someday, the plant was shut off. And there used to be a statistic compiled in the ministry. How many kilowatt hours of power have been lost because of inadequate coal? Am I right? I think we've stopped compiling that statistic. That's history now. We don't even ask for that statistic anymore. And as we speak, the 100 plants that we monitor, the big major ones, at an average have 25 days of coal stock in the plant, at the power plants. तो अगर कोल इंडिया 25 दिन 1 किलो कोल भी नहीं दे तो भी देश में पर्याप्त मात्रा में बिजली मिलती रहेगी. And I have done nothing. Believe me, I have done nothing in all of this. It's all of these people sitting here, many of them. And I want this message, and I'm extremely delighted that at the right time, we have Power Secretary Mr. Pujari who's come in. Actually, he was to come yesterday, but meri wajah se he got held up because till late in the evening, I kept all my officers engaged in a meeting yesterday. So I'm to blame for not having him here in time. But why I'm saying all this, why I gave you the LED data, why I gave you the work that's happening in coal, in power, the massive build-up on renewable energy. We will be embarking, rather we have embarked on the world's largest renewable energy program ever in the history. No other country in the world has ventured to go in for such a massive build-up. And this scale, this huge scale, is the opportunity that ELECRAMA 2016 is demonstrating to the world. This is the opportunity that all of you have to cash in on at moderate profit levels, of course. And just like in LED, because of economies of scale, transparent procurement, timely payment, equal opportunity for all, an absolutely honest and corruption-free regime, prices have come down by 80%. If any of you is in the LED business and has interacted with me, when I first threw the figure of 99 rupees, I remember I was being ridiculed like anything. When I first spoke about solar power at being less than 5 rupees a unit, everybody made fun of me. In fact, when people bid 4 rupees 63 paisa in one of these solar procurement bids, meri badi alochna hui. Lot of people criticized me, and there were editorials written that these prices are unreasonable and that nobody will be able to supply power at that price, 4 rupees 63 paisa. In fact, a very large company, it's an international company, one of the largest, most reputed names in the venture capital business internationally. Their people are planning to come into solar power in a big way. They sent their representatives to meet me and their partner, Indian partner. And they criticized the whole process and criticized me for this 4 rupees 63 paisa and said this company which has won this bid can never execute it. We have done the math, and 463 you don't even get 6% return on equity. I said, look, I am not pressing the buttons on the computer. It's a transparent reverse e-bidding process. For all I know, somebody could be sitting on the South Pole and bidding. I wouldn't even know who's bidding what at what time. So I cannot order people not to bid aggressively. I cannot tell people don't bid low. So I'm sorry, it's a transparently determined price and I have confidence it will be met. And lo and behold, can you guys believe it? The next tender that came out after that, the next reverse e-bidding, the same company who had criticized me so severely, possibly all those editorials and all, the same company won that bid at 4 rupees 63 paisa. So please don't remain under any expectation that we are going to try and push up prices. We are certainly going to drive down prices. But we will offer you a business opportunity which will be unparalleled in your business life. We will offer you scale which you have never seen before. We will offer you honesty and transparency which will become the hallmark of India in the world. And rather than being a country known for irregularities, we should become a country known for competitive and fair and transparent working. And on the back of these assurances, I want you to assure me that you will stand by the quality assurances that the people of India deserve. You will provide products of international standards which will serve the people. And in the days to come, the dream of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, which we rededicate ourselves to on his 100th birth anniversary, to ensure that the poorest of the poor, the Daridra Narayan, also enjoys the benefit and fruits of progress, which he cannot do, given the scarce resources that we as a nation have. If we do not provide quality products at fair and reasonable prices, if we do not provide them on time, if we indulge in any practices which are unethical, we will never be able to serve the poor of this country. I think if all of us work together if all of us take it upon ourselves that we are going to do our work effectively, efficiently, smartly, innovatively, there is no power on earth that can stop India from becoming a superpower, can becoming the Vishwaguru that India was once upon a time. And I urge and appeal to all of you to participate in this dream, to walk this journey with Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, so that all of us together, as proud Indian citizens, can leave behind a world, a better place to live in for the next generation. And Aditya's daughter who's over here, or other young children that I've met here, will thank us as trustees of this planet, of this universe, of our country, for having protected the wealth that God gave us, that our forefathers gave us, and gave them a better future. Thank you very much.